So,
Hi. Which iPhone did you order, Brad?
Paul Thurrott, I am like millimeters away
Yep.
from just going to live in the mountains and living on twigs and berries and just deleting the internet and saying goodbye to my family.
I think this is the end game for every male, really,
I think it really
as
is. Like,
exemplified by like every action movie ever made where the guy is like, I'm done. He buys like a 70s muscle car that has a carburetor so he can fix it himself. He just gives up on technology.
so you could probably go back to a year ago and find this podcast and I will complain about the same thing, except I think it's gotten worse. I'm not sure if I'm even buying one yet. All I wanted to do, Paul Thurrott, was log into my Verizon account. Now, here's the scenario. I even got the numbers in front of me.
Mhm.
We have 2 iPhones and an Apple Watch,
Yeah.
all on Verizon on this old legacy plan.
Right.
It is $132 a month plus some like tax or whatever. So like we'll say 140-ish, all in,
Mhm.
all in, everything. So there's a little button on there next to the phones that says upgrade your phone. I'm like, all right, I'm going to click the button and see what it does. So if you go through Verizon's little dark pattern circle here, to get a quote unquote $1,000 for my phone to upgrade, so basically what they call get the next iPhone on us, my plan would go from, we'll just say 140 to 262 per
I
month.
So you're not getting $1,000 up for anything. They're taking it from
like
you.
I'm just straight up
They want you off that plan. I mean,
they do.
I feel like we've had this conversation before.
But the thing is, Paul, like it's perfect for us. We get 10. It's 5G. It gets us 10 gigs of data per month. And at some point, they turned on rollover data. You know how much rollover data we have right now, Paul Thurrott?
Yeah, but it's useless. Well, you'll never use it.
No,
What
we have
about
like 60 gigs of data per.
Do you have like a
month now.
hotspot thing? Is that
like
you know?
We don't? The plan we have is fine. Verizon's just mad that we exist. And so then all I wanted to do was take my phone, which is in great shape, and just give it to Verizon, and they give me some sort of credit, and then you guys tell me how many dollar dues I got to pay to get the new phone. I don't want to change my plan. You cannot do it on their site. They do not allow this currently.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised by that.
So what you do then, the logical thing is you say, well, Apple has humans who work there. Let's go check their site. They actually let you do this.
Right.
So I can buy a phone on a payment plan through Apple, which is what I want to do. Maybe if I'll probably end up buying it outright, but I could I could trade my phone into Apple. They will give me $362 for it. So then my phone would be $700 divided by 24, and they will just attach that to my plan.
Yep.
Changing nothing.
I would just say you absolutely are going to use this thing for 3 years or whatever.
Oh yeah, like
there's no reason not to spread it out. Who cares?
Right.
It's zero
it's more
interest.
so, I don't know. I legitimately just sit here and think I'm going to get this thing and I'm going to open the same 3 apps.
I know.
And the only thing that I want is the USB-C charging. That is like legitimately the only thing. Better battery life, but I can solve that on my current phone if I really want to.
I gotta go. I put aside a bunch of stuff to go look at later, but I think I said this to you the other day. I swear to God, they said the USB was faster on the new Pros, and I know the base iPhones are still USB 2. I know last year or the year before, whenever it was, they went to USB 3 on the Pros, and I think they went from 10 to 20. I think on the Pros this year. I think they are faster. Not that matters. I mean, unless you have, this is good for people with like, humongous videos that they want to offload, obviously.
Anyways, this is my
I don't know.
annual rant.
I didn't show you this the other day. I'm embarrassed because I've actually had this thing for like over 2 days, but.
Oh, it's just the case.
It really.
You know what you should do is put your current iPhone in there and be like, look, Apple shipped one early, and like nobody could tell the difference.
Yeah, well, I did actually, and there's a little bit of space at the bottom because the new ones are a little bigger, right?
Mm-hmm. Just to make sure you can't reuse those accessories.
It's slightly bigger screen, et cetera, et cetera. But if you put it in there, I don't have it here with me, but if you put it in there and it's up toward it fits right in like that fits. So from the back, this would absolutely look like I got it already. I should do that. That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good.
You should do it like Thursday,
No, I'll just do it right now. I'll be like, wow, that came quick. You know what I mean?
You sound
Yeah.
like my wife. Let's
Wow.
I mean, it was late up there.
Yeah.
I'm still a
That's
child
the.
at heart.
Yep. Oh man.
Anyways, I have other exciting news to
Mhm.
share about as I head into the woods. Check out my grass. Yep. No, it's looking pretty good. It's looking. Yeah, that's pretty. It's growing.
What I think we've talked about this sometime, but one thing they do in this area that I'd never seen before, where I live, where I used to live anyway, is they throw down like it's not sawdust, it's like dried corn husks or something. Like it's kind of a dry
Hmm.
flaxen looking thing. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I don't know. They they'll plant grass, which they do,
Yeah.
this time of year, a month ago, whatever. And then you'll see these huge areas. It's dirt, but it's covered in this yellow brown
Hmm.
dried. I'm thinking it might be corn stalks. I don't know like what it is, but it's almost like straw. I get maybe
Yeah.
that's the best way to say it. It's not. It's a little bit different from straw. You might see it like hay. Well, maybe it
Yeah.
is hay. Maybe
Huh.
it's hay. Dried out hay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't. Every time I see it, I'm like, I don't understand what they're doing.
Well, it's probably a byproduct, so I'm guessing it's real cheap. But my guess would
Yeah,
be a lot of people think it's to keep the birds from eating your stuff. Most of the time, though,
yeah.
it's actually to keep the moisture in the soil from being cooked off by the sun.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. They don't ever get rid of it. Like it must naturally
Yeah, if it's just corn
disintegrate
husks,
or
it
the rain
probably.
takes it away. I have no idea. Like you don't see it piled up anywhere. Like it's not,
Yeah.
there's nothing left at the end.
Yep. Nope. Just good old American. Look at that grass.
In any way, when you planted it?
So the biggest threat to this stuff right here is actually rabbits in my backyard, and they are. I actually surrounded it by a fence. That's how insane I was.
Yeah.
So I bought this. We have a deck, and I built the deck when we bought the house. Unless you're the
Mhm.
city planning commission, then I did not build the deck, and it was already here.
I think it's statute of limitations.
Yeah, I think we're
Hopefully.
past that. But the deck sits like 2 feet off the ground, but we've kind of built up like embankments on the side so things slope away or whatever. Anyways, the rabbits like to live under the deck, which is at one point was fine, but now it's becoming a nuisance. So I bought this black, it's like mesh stuff, and I just made like a little fence around this area. And what I'm going to do is when this grass is tall
You gotta
enough
put it
that it
under
needs
the
to be
deck.
cut or whatever, I'm going to move it, and then it's going to be surrounding our deck. Then I'm going to put mulch on top so they can't live under
Yep.
there. And
Yeah, just make sure there's none in there when you, you put it up. You'll hear the screams in the night.
I'll drop a few fireworks down there first, make sure there's nothing in there, and then
Yep. Hmm. Interesting. Well,
my father-in-law was like,
congratulations.
"Look, just drop a couple snakes down there. That would do it too."
Good God. What is wrong with old people?
I don't know. I mean, my daughter was very much against this idea,
You think?
not because
Yeah.
the rabbits would be eaten, but because there'd be snakes in the backyard.
Yeah. They probably are.
I mean,
Snakes.
marginally better than snakes on a plane, I guess. Right.
Hmm.
So, I don't think we mentioned this yesterday. Microsoft has a new COO.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Who, what now? What?
Oh gosh, what is her name? CNBC had the
COO.
yeah, replaces Kevin Turner. Which, without looking it up, when did Kevin Turner leave?
Oh, dude, 7 years ago or something? A long
That's
time
actually
ago,
a pretty
wasn't
good
it?
guess. It was
It was when Nadella came. Like, didn't he was kind of hoping to be CEO, I think, right?
it's her. She came. It's Carolina Diebeck Happy. She came from
didn't
GE actually.
Yeah, didn't even see this.
Yep.
So Kevin Turner, 2016. So
Yeah.
8 years ago. Huh. Interesting. So who's been handling
So it's been split up.
operations or whatever?
She took a bunch of roles from like Scott Guthrie, Rajesh, and like things that had just been kind of dispersed, and like IT operations or something like that too. So
Well, it's inconceivable to me that this never hit me on a feed somewhere. Like this is the type of thing I always, like,
Yeah.
it's weird. I didn't see this. Okay.
so there you go. There's your C-suite.
Kevin
shakeup.
Turner. God damn, that's a name from the past.
Yeah,
I
Kevin.
think wasn't he in Bachman Turner Overdrive? There's a reference for you. BTO is back.
Something like that. I don't. Where is he at? He went to like private equity or something, and then
They all do. All these rich old guys from Microsoft, their second career is just managing money. What a life. I'd like to do that at a cabin up on a lake somewhere.
I don't know who shared this tweet or whatever the heck it was on that I was reading, but they said, you know who just left the industry and then just quietly just never resurfaced and is probably living their best life in a mountain somewhere?
Mm-mm.
Forstall.
Oh
Right.
my God.
He made
Yeah.
tons of money at Apple,
Right.
and then
So
got fired or whatever, left, and he like basically just walked out of that building and said, "I'm done with society," and has just never resurfaced.
he was probably one of the most, I don't know what you call it when you're aggressively trying to advance your career, like, ladder climb or whatever that ever existed. And then he disappeared. So you should look this up because several years ago, he resurfaced briefly just for interviews or something. And I'm not going to get this exactly right, but I want to say he's involved with some sort of a local theater type thing.
Oh,
And
that sounds vaguely familiar.
yeah, so I without, without naming names or whatever, like, one of the weird things about the pandemic is like these guys I used to see all the time, and you would have as well, going to shows and everything. You don't see them for several years. And the pandemic happens and all these people have this sort of soul searching moment, and we see them again, and they're gray haired and bald and fat, and they don't work very hard anymore, and they don't care, and they're riding it out. And they, but some of them are like, I know a guy, and a guy, like he's like, I've always wanted to be a DJ. I'm moving to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing. Like they just, so Scott Forstall, you wouldn't have thought for 1 second that this guy was like a theater geek, because he was so, he came up with Steve Jobs from Next. He was the promise child there, right? And completely different human being than you thought he was.
I mean, it's really funny to think like what was his downfall, and it's fake leather is like what people remembered, right? Like,
well,
I know it's slightly more than that, but
when Bill Gates was younger, there were all these guys at Microsoft who like were little Bill Gates. Like Jeff Rakes was one of those guys. He used to run the Office thing, and they looked like him. They had the glasses, the same kind of hair, and they sit there and rock in their chairs when they talked and stuff. And he Forstall was that to Jobs, and they look somewhat similar. When Jobs was young or whatever, black hair. He just kind of apes of the whole thing, and there was probably a several year period there where like this will be the next CEO. There's no doubt about it. And I guess there was some doubt about it, but
yeah, he clearly just made some money and was like, hey, whatever.
I think he did all right for himself. And by the way, fired because in that moment emulating Jobs, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure his whole shtick was, what would Steve do? And he's like, I'm not apologizing for this, and he's like, all right, see you later. Interesting guy.
I wonder if he's still on the Apple shares. I'm sure he probably does. That's probably.
Yeah, you might as well, just so you can show up at the board meeting or at the, what do you call it? The annual shareholder event or whatever.
Yeah.
I would keep one share. Well, actually, you could have just kept a bunch of them. You probably would have done. I don't know if you've been following the financial stuff, but Apple's done okay since he left.
A little bit. I mean, they made a few dollars here and there.
They're okay. I mean, they're no Nvidia, but I don't know. What an industry.
Anyways, well, one last shot of the grass. Got you Monday. It's pretty. It's green.
It is. It's nice.